Has. We're going to be talking today about her being in the industry as a model, but being in the industry because she's done more than modeling. So I'm going to let her take it away because she's the model we're talking about today.
Hi everybody. As you know, my name's Kaz. I've worked with loads of photographers now, um, and I mainly started doing this as a hobby, and then ended up getting as a paid job. I'm hoping to do. I've got a few more shoots booked for next month, so I'm quite looking forward to that. Um, and basically, as a model, you can come along different job roles as well. The good thing for me is not only am I a hairdresser, I wouldn't say I'm a professional makeup artist, because I don't class myself half as good as the other ones that are on there. So that's where I lack confidence. And the other reason why I did modeling as well, got me into it, was because I lack confidence. A lot of people think I'm really confident, but to a point I am, but there's certain things where I'm just not comfortable. So my advice to anybody that wants to do modeling, I've had a few people say they've been inspired by me, was a long time ago. I wanted to try and change it, but I think a lot of people wanted to do that perception of that it's not just skinny ladies or girls that do modeling, it's all kinds, but it's still very, very competitive out there. That's all I can say about it at the moment.
Okay, so I've got a few questions for you because what you've done is you've given advice about uh, a kind of summary why you've gone into modeling. Also, you've talked about you've gone into modeling to talk about showing the world that there's different sizes,
Mm.
and you've talked about when you started. So I'm going to ask you this: um, when did you want to start as a model? Not when you started. When did you want to start as a model?
When I was younger,
Okay, and
I
what age was that?
had, I would say probably about 19, 20.
Okay, and
Because I used to live in London, and I got asked if I wanted to do a couple of modelling shoots, but I didn't do it. I was pretty scared back then of doing new things and things like that, so I
okay,
didn't end up doing it.
and you being 19, what apart from someone stopping you and saying, you should be a model or whatnot, what made you want to be a model, like yourself? Like at that age of 19, you talked about the things that have stopped you from modeling because of maybe you needed someone to push you and go like, I'm here to support you and make sure that whatever you're doing, I've got your back sort of thing. What made you feel like you wanted to be a model?
I think because a lot of people had always commented how slim I was back then. I had really, really nice, long, thick hair back then, and being very tall. It was quite hard back then to find tall models.
Uh-huh.
I am, well, I'm 6 foot, so
Okay.
yeah.
All right. And when did you start modeling? So you said 19 you started modeling. So what age did you eventually start modeling?
Um, it was basically when I wish I'd done it a little bit like sooner, but I
Uh-huh.
couldn't because life got in the way. Having my children, not that they got in the way, but you go through these things, doing different jobs that I had to do to survive for my children, make a better life for them. And in the end, because I had my children fairly young, it got to the point where I thought I want to do something for me that
Hmm.
makes me feel happy and something that I enjoy as well, and helping others as well, give them advice and help to them as well. So I was 43. I'm
Okay.
now 49. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you've explained what I would have asked you in the second question is like what
I'm sorry.
stopped you from doing it's not a problem. Okay, so for me, I'm guessing it's the same sort of situation from when he was 19 to getting to the age of 43 when you're deciding that you're modeling, if you thought you had the support, because you said it wasn't your kids, if you thought you had the support to be able to, support your kids while you was able to do that as a career, you probably would have done it ages ago.
I would have. I ended up getting married when I was 23, and my partner wasn't supportive of what I wanted
Okay.
to do in my life. So,
Okay.
yeah, one of
So
them things.
so I'm guessing, like, for me, as being looking at it from the outside in, I'd say for you to be a model, you have to have someone that's supportive, or if it's not yourself, have someone that kind of eggs you on, like a best friend, or a family member, or someone that you can confide in, who believes in you, sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah. I think the fact that it kept getting said to me, I mean, in the beginning, I thought they were just all joking, but as I still got older and older, they're saying you should really do it, you should really give it a go. And when I was just having photos took on days out of when I was going out and about, or nights out, everyone was going, you're just so natural with it. And I was like, really? So
Yeah,
I just thought, well, why not? What have I got to lose?
yeah, I agree. I agree. Okay, so if you could do everything again, and I'm not saying have your kids at a different age,
Mm.
not be the partner that you had at the time, literally be able to go back to your 19-year-old self with knowing what you know now, what would you do to change things?
Oh, um, I think I would have been more clued up then. I would have wanted to be more clued up because when you go into modeling and I didn't know anybody else that did it back then. You're talking even a few years back. Um, it was just finding out, a lot of the scams, unfortunately, that are out there,
Uh-huh.
and nearly every model I've spoken to is being scammed at least once, and it's not nice. And you just end up not wanting to trust people, um, which again isn't a really good thing. But sometimes it's that survival, isn't it? If you
See,
don't
see,
trust.
see, you said a few things, but what I mean directly, like, if you was able to talk back to yourself and say
Yeah.
to yourself, and give a sort of better clued up idea of what the 19-year-old didn't know, what would you say to the 19-year-old to inspire her? Whether that's saying find a
Mm,
friend that will support you, or when he was
yeah.
23, find, like, you know, go talk to that best friend that you had that was there for you, or find someone, or believe in yourself, or take the gamble, or I mean, I'm not saying it on behalf of being you. I'm just asking a question, really.
No, definitely. I do wish that I'd gone into it. I do wish that I'd listened to my inner self and at least gave it a go back then. But I didn't think I was good enough. That was a problem.
But
I
what I'm
didn't
saying
think it
is,
was.
I want you to
Yeah,
talk to yourself. Like,
yeah,
don't think
yeah,
about your what we call
yeah.
mishaps, because that what is gone
Hmm.
is gone. But
Yeah, it's true.
for
Yeah.
for
Hmm.
for for like, in a way, if you talk like you was talking to yourself, it will also
Yeah.
talk for others that are coming
Mm,
up, or want to come up, or be inspired.
yeah.
There's information that you could say that will inspire someone, versus, if I say that,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I'm a photographer, and I say, oh,
Yeah.
this is what I've been through. This is what
Mm,
I
mm,
don't always think that people listen. They probably more
mm.
listen if you're giving a note to yourself, and expressing to
Yeah.
yourself that, this is what you need. This is what, because this, you know, the little voice in your head that says, do it, don't doubt it, sort of thing. So, you know,
Yeah.
give a message to yourself, your younger 19-year-old self, you know?
Back then, I should have done a lot of research about it, and I would advise now to any youngsters that do want to get into modeling, always take somebody with you
Hmm.
when you first go into it, because it is a real eye opener. there's a lot of things, um, that you've just got to see how you feel about it. Listen to the older ladies because they've been doing it a long time and they basically know the pros and cons of modeling, and have good supportive people around you. Um, I tend to find the majority of, dare I say it, but online, you do get trolls, you do get nasty comments and things like that. I reckon the majority of it was ladies, that are jealous, and to me, there's just no need. We're all so different in our own ways, and some of us do this to help our mental health as well. And
Hmm.
just some people, not everybody, you get slated for it. You've got to be a strong person in this, or if you're not happy with something and it doesn't go any better for you, you need to walk away. Um, don't ever feel uncomfortable in what you're doing, especially in a shoot. Um, and obviously there's level pushers and things like that, so stick to your limits, stick to your levels of modeling that you're happy and prepared to do, because the problem is, and these youngsters don't think about as well, is once that photo's out there, you can't get that down.
Hmm.
You can never get that down, and you don't know where it's going to end up either.
So I'm hearing many things from you, and one is um one is you said to always bring someone with you, but I would
Yeah,
probably change that and say make sure that you're sure that the person that you take with you is someone that has that has your best interest.
yeah,
Um,
that supports you, that
yeah,
maybe can help you on a shoot. Yeah, that's a lot of mine have been with me on shoots previously. They've just wanted to know what it's like, go behind the background scenes, and some of them have even got into modeling as well through me.
yeah,
They've seen what I've done and they've decided, right, I want to have a go at it, and that's what they've gone on to do.
okay.
So yeah.
And then I also get that when you say the older women, I wouldn't say necessarily the older women because there are older women that do not have the same experience as you because
Hmm.
they've not had so much experience in the industry. And
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, my point of view on it, I'd say be open to listen, be open to listen
Definitely.
to everybody, and don't be closed minded. Um, I'd also say that I think with the industry, you do need to have headspace. You need to have headspace because it's easy to say that you're not going to listen to a troll or not to listen to a troll. I mean, a lot of people will still stay online, and if they're still staying online in that bubble all the time, they're gonna bump into people. They might bump into a different person, and you block it, and then another person comes in and they block it. But the really big thing they need to look into is just stepping away from it, doing
Yeah.
whatever they feel they need to do, whether it's going for
Yeah.
a walk, run, listen to their
Yeah.
favorite song, listen to a
Yeah.
favorite movie, getting advice from somebody. I mean, one thing I will say to do is don't try to get advice from people that have never been in the industry
Hmm.
because I'm sure with you and definitely know myself is that people outside the industry will say, "Why would you go do that for? Don't do that. You shouldn't do this." And no one's they've not been in the industry, so they're not the right people to tell you. So you don't
They're
do
not
it.
going to support you. They're the ones that are going to either bring you down, or they're just not there for you.
Yeah,
And that can be jealousy as well. I mean, I've had friends that I thought have been my friends in modeling and have turned out not to, and have stabbed me in my back. And it's just the way it goes, really. Um, but that's from all walks of life. That doesn't matter. It doesn't mean if you do modeling, that it's going to happen just because you do modeling. That's in everyday life, really. So you always think, you know, you've got them friends. And the other thing is, don't always tell them stuff all the time, because they'll be so quick to go and tell other people as well. Um, and ideas, like, for example, as I run a business, I only tell my really close people of new ideas that I have,
Yeah.
because there's always somebody out there, unfortunately, that's ready to steal them, to steal them ideas.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got to manifest your own ideas to kind of work out what it is you want versus giving an idea out and then someone create that idea and that's where your thought process has got to, and they've done it. And you know, um, I would say don't be afraid to keep things to yourself, but all at the same time share with those that you can trust. And it's not with
Yeah,
what if it's not what they say, it's what they do for you to kind of have an idea on who to trust and who you shouldn't to trust. Um,
yeah.
I I would ask, do you feel you have to research? Like, do you feel even though you've been in the industry for what 5 6 years, do you feel like you still need to do research on the industry?
Um, I would say more of the people that you work with, unfortunately, if you don't
Okay.
know them, you need to find out if it's the right thing for you to do, to work with that person, because um not everyone's going to get on with everybody.
Uh,
That's just the way it is. And there's only certain people that I work for as well. I know that sounds probably really harsh, but it's because I've been doing it for so long. I'm a very experienced model, so it's very rarely, you still get offered a lot of people that want to book you, and they're like, they don't want to pay you, and
yeah.
I'm like, no, that's not how it works. Um, I will only, I mean, I've got that many, or they say to you, oh, do you want your portfolio building? Well, no, thanks. I've already got about 3,000 photos. I'm fine
Yeah.
as I am, thank you.
Yeah.
You just, and just be polite, and just be, I think just be polite. And if you're not sure of somebody, just walk away from them is the best way, I think.
Because what you've just said there is people that want to collaborate or do a time for
Yeah,
print, which is
yeah,
basically someone takes photos of you
yeah.
with their idea of
Hmm.
with you, and then you get the thing of a collaboration. Um, the thing I would say, if anything, is look at what brings value to your portfolio.
Definitely. I
Or,
mean, I've done so many collaborations, but I
yeah,
have to say, from that as well, in the beginning, I've met so many good photographers and models along the way, and we're still friends,
yeah,
and it's nice. You come across the people that you do want in your life, and you support them and they support you, kind of thing. But sometimes it can get like a bit silly, with them wanting to book you a lot of the time, because you'll be like, oh, I've already done that,
yeah.
and it's trying to make the shoots all different as well. I feel
Well, I
as well.
mean,
I like to give them my all, basically.
yeah,
So
I
if my
mean,
heart's not in it in the beginning,
yeah.
there's no point me doing it.
I mean, I think if you definitely got something on your portfolio that someone else wants to do again, I
Yeah,
think that's sort of a no-brainer where, that's gonna cost somebody to do something versus if someone comes with something that's an inspiring idea or whatever it is, I think, that's when you kind of calculate the gamble on going, okay, that sounds like, I don't know. I'm just gonna just randomly say if someone said, you can take a picture in a palace with two lions and you holding two lions in hands with your hair done and your makeup done, and maybe with this very artistic photographer, you might go, well, I don't have lions in my portfolio, but this sounds like a good idea, and you know I then become you then become another um caliber of model because now you've done that, because that's like um I'd I'd say almost an extreme editorial shoot, which then takes
yeah,
you to a different level as a model
yeah,
where you know someone has to come with you with that sort of standard, or they look at that picture and go, they can only come to you that sort of standard because that's what you've done, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the good thing about being a model is as well, you can pick and you can pick and choose your shoots, but I think you also have to do a huge variety to see what benefits you and what you feel most comfortable and most natural doing,
Yeah,
because not every shoot that you do is going to make you feel good or anything. It just might not be you.
yeah,
You know, you might not be able to get that image for that photographer, or you might not feel that it's as good as the one before that you did or something like that. But you've got to understand that it's a job. It can be a job anyway. It can either be a hobby or a job. And I mean, I give it my 100% all when I'm doing a shoot. It's all me or nothing. And I think that's why it works so well for me, because communication is really, really important as well before a shoot. um, you do have a lot of models that end up letting down the photographers and vice versa.
yeah.
It does happen. Um, but I just feel if you're that kind of model, then one, you shouldn't be doing it in the first place, and two, you're going to get a really bad reputation, and no one's going to want to work with you anyway.
Well, I think the thing is that I don't think that some people know how to be honest. I don't think
Yeah,
um there has been in the past where there's been opportunity to be honest about some things, because I find that if someone be's honest to me, I know more and more on how to to uh to communicate with that, you know,
yeah, yeah,
versus before. Um, but at the same time, it's a situation where I think what's been easy for me as a photographer is for me to sort of build a sort of, it's weirdly, I'm gonna say this, as some sort of friendship, like a friendship conversation first, because
yeah,
you have to feel comfortable to shoot. I've got to be
yeah.
comfortable to shoot as well, you know?
Exactly, because the minimum usually do of a shoot is 2 hours, if not sometimes all day.
Yeah,
So you do have to feel comfortable with that person. And
yeah,
again, if you're not comfortable with that person and you go on a shoot with them, it's going to come out in your images. It's going to come out by your facial expressions,
yeah,
what you wear, what
yeah,
you say, that kind of thing. It's just going to look forced as well.
yeah.
So,
And the thing is as well is that I think I think some people will either get anxiety about something, or they will get to the other side on something where, I mean, I'm talking about two different levels of um uh being uncomfortable. So there's a very, very uncomfortable thing where you don't know how it's going to be, so you get anxiety about it and you're panicking, and then you meet the person and then everything's fine. Or you go on the other side where someone becomes too confident about something, then
yeah,
you're not able to communicate because the person's like, you know,
they think they
um,
know better.
yeah, they think they know better, and
Yeah.
this is where egos take over, or you be seen as someone that has an ego, because a lot of people, they're trying to sell something that they don't
Yeah.
need to sell. you know a lot of the time, if someone wants to collaborate or do anything with you, it's because they either seen your vision, or they've seen your image, or they have an idea of you. But what I feel is
Yeah.
great about nowadays, with us being pushed to be more online, is the
Mm.
fact that I would encourage even more is for models to talk, like whoever's collaborating, to have spend 5 minutes or whatever and get to know who you want to work with, because it's then like, okay, I know now who you are, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. And you get to know them as a person a little bit before.
Yeah,
So you already know what kind of style that they might already want, rather
Yeah.
than standing around thinking what's going on.
Yeah.
That's not good. I prefer to get straight in there. I have ideas of my own, and then I work with the photographer or the model or the models for
Yeah.
their ideas as well. It's not just about me if it's on a collaboration. It's like when I've done lots of fashion shows, it's not about just me, it's about all of us as a team,
Yeah.
all working together. The fact that, you know, I'm a hairdresser, on that day, I started ended up doing someone's makeup as well, because
Uh,
things happen. The makeup artist didn't turn up. The other one was running late,
yeah.
and time was just going so quick that I just thought I've got to step in, otherwise we're not even going to be hosting
Yeah.
this fashion show and things like that. So, um, and I think you can try and organise things. I think it is better to have a plan of what you're doing, but it doesn't necessarily go to plan, and you've got to be prepared for that.
So
The
you're
amount of
talking
shoots,
you're talking
yeah,
about you're talking about as you being an experienced model is always being prepared for a situation and having an idea that the shoot might not go as planned, you know, versus the person that was probably running the event may have not thought like that, you know,
yeah,
and
yeah,
they were lucky to have someone with experience to then
hmm,
be able to click in, which is, this is where the value of money comes in, where you're able to do that, or the value of person, with people um looking and seeing what this model can do or whatever, and having an
yeah,
idea and knowing that for sure when it goes down to you having this person on shoot, they're getting more,
mm,
more, more than their money's worth. I hate that term, but
yeah,
it's that.
yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, totally, totally. Yeah. Um, and it's the thing as well, things do happen, for example, events start running and you get all excited about it and what you're going to do, and then a couple of days before it can just be cancelled. So
Yeah,
it's always good to have a backup plan, you know
yeah.
I think so anyway.
So I've got another question for you. Do you believe, or would you prefer,
Mm.
as a artist model, that people be honest with you, or for them to not be as honest? Because for me, I think there is
Honest.
honest. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm that person myself, I would expect that from others. Like if you're going to turn up on a shoot and you're running late, it's just courtesy to say, I'm running late, or I'm stuck in traffic, or I've got lost, or, things like that. I just think it's just a good, and that is how a lot of the relationships before the events have even started end up going wrong at
Yeah,
times, because everyone's talking to each other, or excuse me, they're too busy talking over each other and not
yeah,
listening to what's going on.
yeah. So
Yeah,
you're talking about being professionally honest, but
yeah,
also
yeah,
being courteous, having courtesy for the rest of the people that you work with.
yeah. It costs nothing. It costs absolutely nothing. There's no reason to not answer questions or let people know what's going on. I think, and if something isn't going that well, then to have ideas as well to how you can run it a little more smoothly. For example, if you've done one event day and it's not gone so well that day, and you're doing another one, I don't know, the following week, for example, and you can see what's gone wrong, and then you can think, right, this is how I need to prepare to make sure this goes more smoothly.
Okay, so now I've got another question for you, because I've been to many events, and
Yeah,
I've seen people that have done it great and really well, and then
yeah,
I've seen those that have taken a gamble to try to create something out of nothing. And when I say
mm,
create something out of nothing, I mean that, you know, it's easy to make the flyer look lovely. It's, easy to sell the idea of something, and then you go to the event and it's not been as well as the front cover, which is the flyer of or the
Yeah.
advertisement to the whatever.
Very true. Or the fact that the models don't even turn up as well. Some of them just let you down on that day.
I I I
Um,
I believe that, but then at the same time is that if you ain't got some of the things that you've talked about today, then there's
mm,
no reason for the models to turn up because I've been at shoots when models don't get fed or given water. I mean,
do you know what? I have too as well, and that's one of the reasons I'm not mentioning any names why
yeah,
I don't do fashion shows anymore. Especially when you're doing on really, really hot days and you're inside prepping for 4 to 6 hours before it. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, if you're not going to provide food, fair enough, but at least let people know to bring their own. I think every event should have water anyway, and even a coffee or something. And you need regular breaks as well. And that is one thing that always never seems to happen. There's never usually any breaks. And that's when people get really stressed, really
yeah,
tired, and things start going wrong. So I would say, at least 15 minutes throughout the day because the models do get tired.
mhm,
So do the photographers, so does everybody
yeah,
that's on a collaboration shoot because it's the only way you're going to make it through the rest of the day. Because some of these events start off really early, you've got to be there at 10, but the showing of the showcase of the clothes, for example, don't start till 8 o'clock at night,
yeah, and
and that
sometimes earlier. Sometimes the event
exactly.
you got to meet up earlier than that, 7 o'clock in the morning for, and then it's the
Yeah.
traveling time, which might
I
even
was
take
just
you,
about to say that.
you
You
know,
read my mind, Kirk.
yeah,
I was just about to say, and you got travel on top of that. I mean, I've limited it now. If I am to do any more fashion shows than that, it's a 30-mile radius now. I
yeah,
say even 20. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's it, I think. Yeah.
But
Um,
then I'll ask you another question then, and I'll ask you this on to being able to give people advice that may have not thought about this, but would do you think the model has the right to ask questions like this? And do you think the model has the right to suggest getting all that information for the rest of whoever wants to join the event?
yeah, I do. I think a lot of the reasons why a lot of the events have like flopped is because there's not been communication
Yeah,
and so little of it is done, or there's a lot of people that don't know what are going on, and then everyone starts panicking and stressing and that kind of thing. And it's key that you need one person that's involved in it, and you need a couple that are there to
uh-huh,
help the models, to dress the models as well, because otherwise you're left end up doing everything, and
yeah,
that's when it becomes really stressful. To the point where I decided I wasn't going to do any more because nobody was like sort of listening. It obviously not my event, but I am looking at hopefully doing some events of my own soon. So
yeah.
that's definitely in the pipeline. Yeah,
So I would say then, and what I'm reading for the whole thing, and I'm learning as I talk.
yeah,
Not saying that I don't know a lot of this information anyway, but I'm learning as I talk.
hmm,
Like you generally need someone else to be with you because whether they're with you in spirit or they're with you face to face, they need to be able to ask these questions that you know you won't remember yourself. Like are you going to be fed the water? You know, especially if you go to a place where where you're giving your time for free, what do you get
mm,
from it? You know,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
not not where like I've been to events and I've been told that models are saying that the photographers will take photos of them, and there's
hmm,
not been a discussion with the photographer because I've gone there to take photos on my behalf, not really thinking
hmm,
about anyone else because I'm like, yeah, there'll be some models there. I'll take some photos, w- you know, and then someone might say to me that okay, send some photos through, and then I go back because there's been many a times when I spend nights and days and weeks and whatever not getting sleep editing for something that I was never tied into. So I went there on my own, of course. Someone's been promised that photographers would take photos. I've been to events where I'm probably the only photographer there, so if I don't take any
Yeah.
photos,
Yeah.
the model's not gonna get it. Um,
Mhm.
and not just that, is that a model will be told that a photographer's gonna take a photo, which is not something that you've talked with the event person about. So you're there feeling like you've got the weight of what that person said to the model to make sure they get something out of it. But at the same time, you then think like it's been years and years since I'm doing it, and the more that we've been out of lockdown, I've been thinking about even more. Is that
Mm.
you know what if the photographer says takes the time and say what like I'm in the same boat as you, but I've
Mhm.
come with my own thing. Like you, I would like to promise you photos,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, because I'm not tied with this arrangement that you have with whoever's running the event, I can't promise that you're gonna get some.
Yeah, unfortunately, that happened on one of the fashion shows I went on. Um, we had a photographer, and for whatever reason, the pictures weren't great. They
Uh-huh.
weren't edited, and we got really bad ones that weren't even. They were like really blurry and that.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I think you have to do your research as well, like to what photographers you want there at an event,
Yeah.
because this one said they were really, really good, and everyone's to rush out and get them,
Yeah.
and things like that, you know.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put us on a break. I'm gonna let you sort your dog out because I can see it from your face that you want
You
to.
know what? She's always like it, so I don't know what I'm going to do. She's very jealous, is the word.
It's alright. I'm all right to carry on, but I mean I don't want you to be in a position where you're like she's quiet. She's not quiet. Like because you're in a room with the
I'll
dog.
tell you what. I'll tell you what. If you want, if you've got more time later, I can come on later